when your heart beats heavy with sorrow, there will always be another day. Hello and welcome to Globetrotting with Gillespie. Yes, it's me, Dana Gillespie, on a fantastic new sofa. We're here in the Temple of Art and Music. And I'm going to introduce you to somebody that I haven't actually seen for a little over half a century ago, who was special in my life, but way back in the 60s. Now, in my memoirs, Weren't Born a Man, lots of name dropping, of course. On the very back page, there's a thing advertising a book here, and the reason we are all here in the TAM tonight is for this book, because it's a book launch and there's a gig. So I'd like you to meet Keith West. Hello, Keith.
Hello, Dana. Dana.
Yeah, we're Dana, yes. You know, it's been so long. Can you remember where we met?
Yeah, we were doing. It's funny you can remember certain things. We were doing a gig together, and
Really?
You were a friend of ours who used to work at Granny Takes a Trip, and
Who was that?
I can remember what you were wearing actually as well.
Oh, tell me.
You had a pair of. You were on your own with doing a folk thing with a big acoustic guitar.
12-string.
And you had a pair of trousers with stripes up the side, blue and white stripes.
Yes, I remember them.
And Tom Jones and the Playboys were on that gig as well. And he was chasing after you like crazy. He couldn't take his eyes off you.
Was this? But where was?
I can't remember where it was. It's so long ago. I can't remember where it was.
It wasn't Great Yarmouth at the Britannia
No, I don't
Pier.
think it was. I think it was in London somewhere.
Okay.
Definitely, yeah. We were probably called the In Crowd in those days.
Well,
sort of
yeah.
like a soul mod band.
I know you were very mod, you guys.
We were
Very
very
trendy
mod,
they
yeah.
were. And I mean, Keith was jet black hair.
Yeah.
Wasn't it? And
Not dyed though. It's just that was the colour of it.
well, I wasn't hennaed, of course, in those
No,
days.
you had a big mane of
sort of yellow.
yellow blonde hair.
Yeah, well, those days are gone, you know. You can't. But you know what? I've read your book, so I know in a way. I mean, I'm amazed there's so many names. We almost, like I said to you earlier, we're in like parallel universes.
Yeah.
Because we kept seeing and meeting the same people.
Well, you knew everybody in those days.
Everyone did.
yeah.
We sat in the Gioconda Cafe, which is in Tin Pan Alley, and look what's happened to it now. The whole of that area of London is.
Yeah, Denmark Street's the same as well. It's not what it used to be. But
No,
anyway, you know,
it's not what it is.
Yeah,
But that's life goes on.
Yeah.
So you were. What was? Just tell me. I know because I've read the book. But tell me, what was the first thing that turned you on to music?
As a young boy,
Yeah.
Les Paul and Mary Ford. My parents used to play Les Paul and Mary Ford records. So I mean, I can remember, and the only way they'd get me up out of bed on a Saturday was to stick on How High the Moon or something, and I'd be straight out of bed. That guitar, that electric guitar sound, that's what fired me up. I don't know what it was about it. I've never heard anything like it
How
before.
How old were you then when you heard
10
it?
probably, or 9 or 10 or something.
And then at what age did you think, I wouldn't mind doing this as a career?
Well, a school friend of mine, Ken, we used to write songs together. That's what started off. And there was a group at the time called the Team Beats, which is named after an old Chet Atkins album called Team Beat.
Right.
The front man was a guy called Tony Colton, who had quite an incredible career, actually.
He was Head, Hands and Feet, wasn't he?
Yeah. And
they were a great band.
Yeah, with Albert Lee and Chaz Hodges.
Yeah.
And he'd written songs for Ray Charles. Martin back there knows more about him than I do, but yeah, he had quite a career. And he moved to America. Sadly, he died recently.
That's
but he was the front man of the group, so it was Tony Colton and the Team Beats. I was on bass in those days as well.
Oh, you started off as bass?
Yeah. The
started
slot
off-
opened up for a bass player, so I grabbed it.
Well, I started off as a drummer. I don't know if you remember, I was playing drums in those
No, I
days.
don't remember that.
Do you remember my flat? It was in the basement.
Vaguely, yeah. It was in a big house, wasn't it?
Yeah, but it was the basement. It was
Yeah.
my parents' house, and I
Yeah.
had lots of instruments. I had my drum kit and
Yeah.
you know, all the instruments. But I don't think we did much to do with music in those days.
Probably not, no.
We were having fun. But they were great days in those days.
I was a bit nervous about going in there because you were only about 17 at the time, probably,
Yeah,
and
could
your
have even-
family wasn't like my family, but they were very liberal. She had her own flat, basically, where musicians would go in there. you know,
Yeah, it was musician central at my place.
It was,
because
yeah.
it was around the corner from the Cromwellian, which was the place that anyone went to, or Blazes, and it was walkable. So even if you left the club legless, you could at least get as far as my place.
Yeah.
I don't mean you.
Yeah.
If one left the club legless, I'm not referring to you.
Well, we had a residency at Blazes for about a year, I think, something like that. So
wasn't it Jim Carter Fay? Wasn't he the boss of that place? Or was it?
He was, yes, that's right, yeah.
There's another name from the past.
Well, everybody from the music industry come down there to chill out. You know, you'd have the Beatles, Stones, The Who, everybody used to come down there.
And you said that's where, I mean, you said
you introduced me to Bob Dylan down there one night.
God, name dropping again.
He wasn't in the greatest of moods, I've got to tell you, but they all come down to see John Lee Hooker, haven't we?
Yeah,
so
and
it was packed in there.
I'd go anywhere to see John Lee Hooker, and I saw him 40 years later in Vienna, and he still played the same songs, everything in one key.
Yeah.
But if you found your groove, why bother to change it? It was perfect.
Yeah, the band have to sort of follow him. They don't all change chords at the same time, do they?
Yeah, it was sort of 13 bars, or 13 and a half bars to
it's all about
verse.
the groove. But yeah, he was sensational.
Now, of course, most people remember you when the in crowd sort of changed. It morphed into Tomorrow.
Yes, yeah.
Hence it's called Thinking About Tomorrow, the book, which makes a great read, by the way. I mean, I'll shut up about plugging it. No, I won't shut up about plugging it. But, so then, of course, tell us about teenage opera, because a lot of people remember that.
Well, yeah, well, that band, we were called the In Crowd. Joe had come down to see us from the UFO Club, and he liked the band, but he didn't like the name, the In Crowd. Didn't think it would fit with the hippie crowds, so we changed it pretty much overnight. The bass player Junior just said, "What about calling it?" I don't know. We all stupid names are coming out. He said Tomorrow. We went, "That's it, right?" So we suddenly were Tomorrow, and the producer who recorded Mow Up Bicycle.
Who was that?
Mark Wirtz, who's a German producer, like a house producer. And
Wirtz,
yes, he sadly died recently as well.
God, another one gone.
And he was knocking out pop, you know, pretty much pop, like most of those producers at EMI. It's a staff producer, so. And I think he liked the songs that he'd never recorded with anybody like us before, playing that sort of music. It was all pretty straight down the line stuff for him. He was a great arranger though, and I think he got the idea from all the songs that we were putting on this album. They're all about characters. Most of these songs, when I used to work in an office back in the day, I used to write lyrics down. I was always writing stuff down in a big box and storing it all away. And he just said one day, "Do you want to write some lyrics to a song I've started working on?" So I think it took me about an hour to do the whole thing.
Well, of course, everyone remembers the hook line, just Grocer Jack, Grocer Jack.
Is it true what Mummy says she won't come back?
What is extraordinary is people forget that excerpts of a teenage opera, things like Tommy the opera hadn't been invented. The word opera hadn't been used in the world of pop then. It was absolutely unique.
That's right, yeah. And, you know, Pete Townsend always said that he did the first rock opera. Actually, in the book, he does own up and say we did it first, basically.
No, you did do it first, and everyone knew it. I mean, it was #1 for
Number 2 in the UK, because Engelbert Humperdinck was around at the time. Who's
Jerry Dorsey.
Yeah, he kept Penny Lane, Strawberry Fields of #1, and Teenage Opera of #1. I sold over 250,000 records, probably Penny Lane sold more than that. He sold something like 400,000 copies of The Last Waltz. Cabaret singer came back to...
So what happened after teenage opera? Because I mean, I've seen it many times. It's quite difficult to know what to do after that.
It was always going to be a problem, yeah. I mean, I didn't sign up to sing that, basically. My job was to co-write the lyrics and help, you know, put it together. But they liked the voice on the demo that I did, so EMI had me under contract already, so they just put it out, basically. And Brian Morrison, my manager at the time, said, "Don't worry, you know, it won't be a hit, probably. Just a bit of fun."
Mr. Cigar.
Mr. Cigar. That was his scam.
Yeah, he was Denmark Street as well, weren't his offices there, or just round the corner?
Charing Cross Road, yeah.
Sort of probably above Francis Day and Hunter.
Above the A&R Club, yeah, which was a notorious club for gangsters to hang out.
Well, A&R, of course, you know, as the artists and repertoire, but actually people in the music business always used to call it almanar because they sometimes didn't know their art from their elbow. But anyway, I digressed.
And I went in
as
there for a
usual.
drink once. Now, it was just a floor down, and Christine Keeler and Mandy Rice Davis were in there.
Well, I sat on a train with Mandy Rice Davis. She tried to be a singer for a while.
She did, yeah.
And I can't remember who was managing her, but it was some retrobate.
Don Arden?
But probably down Denmark Street.
Yeah.
Anyway, so then after Teenage Opera, I mean, how did you make the transition to carry on? Because it's difficult when you've had a
really
huge
difficult.
success.
Yeah, and the band were all upset, obviously. So we just yeah, having a big hit like that suddenly, you know, it caused absolute problems. They cost so much to make that EMI got cold feet eventually.
Really?
And the follow-up, Sam, was even more expensive than the first one, and then that didn't chart. So with EMI, no hit, no deal, basically.
Yeah.
So
They don't stick with artists very long, do they? Unfortunately, they should.
No, in those days they didn't, that's for sure, yeah.
So after that, you've just kept on with the band. What's the band called? By the way, you're playing tonight here at the town. What's the band called?
Well, we've got a couple of different names for this band, but we're sometimes called the Detours, but tonight we're the Keith West Band.
Yay! So what happened between the Keith West Band and Teenage Opera? Because there's a big gap.
Yeah, you can see it from the book. There's all sorts of things I got involved in, producing, arranging, doing all kinds of stuff. I didn't know where to go, to be perfectly honest, after that. It was difficult. People wanted me to do something like that. So I did a single called On a Saturday, which got a lot of airplay and was very catchy, but everybody expected to load it up with strings and orchestrations, which I didn't want to do.
Yeah.
There's actually a double bass on it. That was me being arsey, really, to be honest, just to say, I don't want to do what you're telling me to do.
But you know, the music business is a great business, actually. I mean, it's a cutthroat thing, but it's fun. What else would you... You wouldn't have wanted to carry on life in an office anyway.
No. It's a lot of interesting characters you meet on the way, obviously, but I seem to have got away with it pretty healthily, unscathed.
But you're still writing songs, I know, because you sent me some new epics.
I mean, none of them make any money, but...
Yeah, but I think writing gets stuff off your chest.
Yeah, something I can do. So, if you've got any sort of talent, I think, of doing anything, you should be doing it. It doesn't matter what level it is.
And you never know what's going to happen with the songs. Suddenly somebody might...
So it can happen rarely, like as Madonna, Ray of Light, with those two guys who wrote it years ago, changed it around and suddenly bang.
Well, I'm really looking forward to listening to you tonight because, I haven't seen you played since the in-crowd days. Tell me who the band members are.
On drums, Bill Slattery, who I've known Bill for about 3 years, and Bill is in the industry for a while. He backed people like Rufus Thomas as a soul drummer, great guy.
Okay.
So we're all really good friends, actually. Martin Costello, I've known for years. He worked at Getaway Music with Malcolm Forrester.
Another name I knew from the past.
And when Malcolm was busy, Martin used to take me out for a drink or whatever, and we got friendly, and we've been friends ever since. And Cameron, Cameron Murray, I've only known for a couple of years. He stepped in as the replacement guitar player. He's great. He sings great as well. Well,
I heard you in the sound check. There's the two voices sounded really good, but I see 3 microphones up. Do you lapse into 3-part harmony?
Martin on bass does the harmonies as well.
Yay!
Yeah. He hasn't got his little box of tricks with him tonight, but...
Oh, great. Well, I'm really looking forward to sitting back and listening to it.
Yeah, we are. It's the first time we only played a couple of gigs due to COVID, so we're looking forward to it.
I know, it really got in the way of everyone's lifestyle.
Yeah.
Well, I want to thank you, Keith, for sitting on the sofa at the Temple of Art and Music. And now let's listen to the Keith West Band, and I can't wait. Yippee!
Let me take you down, 'cause I'm going to Strawberry Field. Nothing is real, and nothing to get hurt. Strawberry Fields forever. I always know, sometimes it's me. But I know when it's a dream. Never understand what makes you act the way you do. I'll still be there for you. After all the way been through, I always want you, no matter what you say, no matter what you do.
the flame from the fire burns forever as the eagle flies to meet the brand.